morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another week in the year of Before Coffee. We're here on Mucking Fonday. Did you have a good weekend? You better have, because I don't want you to be looking at any news. We have all the news you're going to need here on Before Coffee. So let's get started with the first and only international game show Before Coffee, the father and daughter news podcast where we look up our stories right before we started. We've just got caffeine in our bodies and we're learning to read and speak live on stream. Let's get into today's weekend and Monday headlines and roll that segue wheel.
Yeah, going to be a shorter Monday, I think.
Today on Mucking Fonday, Takaichi heading for big election win, exit polls show in Japan, and Sweden to tighten citizenship rules amid push to cut immigration.
And we're going to talk about economics here on Mucking Fonday as Bitcoin is down 40% since Diaper Donnie's election. And speaking of Diaper Donnie, January job losses were the worst since 2009, which was a great recession.
In Olympics and Black History Month news, are back flips allowed in figure skating now? And why is everyone talking about Sera Bonali? And we're going to talk about Sera Bonali. I can say her name. I have dyslexia with her name completely. Bonali on Baltic's figure skating fashion and discrimination in ice skating.
She's known. And we're going to talk about abandoned oil tankers. Yes, there's hundreds of abandoned oil tankers all over the globe.
In my culture news, Bad Bunny triumphs at Super Bowl with Defense of America beyond the United States borders.
And it's National Cut the Cord Day, which is having to do with cable television. I did that last year because I was paying way too much for this stupid bundle. It was like $3. And I now get it for like $124 for Wi-Fi and all, cell phone even included. Anyway, so it's Cut the Cord Day, February 9th, 2026. Let's do this again. It's Cut the Cord Day, February 9th, 2026 on Before Coffee. Take 4.
Yeah, I haven't watched the TV in a year. I think I watch the TV once every year, and that's during the New Year's shows that show up on Dutch television, you know. They have this thing called they have something like top 100 songs of the year. So, and they start it early, and they play every single song from 100 all the way to number 1, and then the point is number 1 is supposed to play right at the New Year hits. And that's the only time I watch TV, to watch that, number 99, the top song was this one, and then you just watch that for the whole day, right? It plays the whole day until New Year's hits. And of course, it's Bohemian Rhapsody, number 1 for this year. The most played Dutch song is still Bohemian Rhapsody.
50 years ago is number 1.
Hey, it's a good song. And a bunch of people are drunk by the time they're going, they're all drunk and drinking champagne and the song plays.
Is that cable television? You say you're watching.
It is our national, it's our national channel, one of the national channels. You know how you have BBC?
You're not listening to my entire question. You keep talking and you're not listening to my question. My question is a question. It's not a statement or anything else. Is that cable it hooks up to your television, or is it over-the-air TV? That's my question.
I have no clue. We have a box, like DirecTV. We have a box, and that box has a cable in it, I guess. So it's cable. We don't have satellite television here. I've never seen a satellite.
So it's cable. So you didn't cut the cable. So
I didn't cut the cable.
Well, again, I'm
paying for it, to be fair. I think it's not my choice to cut the cable.
There's 10 different ways you can get a broadcast television signal now, right? You can get all
kinds
of apps if you got a smart TV.
If I can defend my position, I guess. told me, or Robert told me, that if we were to only pay for internet, it would be more expensive than if we actually just did the, the duo, right? Internet and TV together, it's cheaper. So that's why we have TV.
I'm just saying, last year, just so we can murder this point lately, last year, when I moved back from frickin' Oregon in April, the cable bill, which included cable TV and Wi-Fi, right, for the house, and didn't work half the time. Our neighbors got a big gigantic refund from the same assholes. He said they were to a higher speed, right, and they never were. They just them for it, and they did the same thing to us. I bet you I could go back and get money back from these clowns, and maybe I will. I'll just have my neighbors go, Nisi and them, and they're like, have them go, hey, they did the same thing to us, and we're coming off the same box. So it seems like logical that they're ripping off them too. So I might just go sue them. Either way, $300 and some a month. And now what I did was I already had a T-Mobile account for my cell phone, and I had a T-Mobile router out in Oregon that did everything I needed, and that's the one I talked all the way across the country. I was driving across the country, I'd plug in my router, and I'd have Wi-Fi right there no matter where I was. So I got rid of the cable and just went with T-Mobile for Wi-Fi. I got a router right up here. It's pointed at a tower somewhere out by the highway, but I hit it. Obviously, you wouldn't see me otherwise. But anyway, that was my solution. $124 a month. I get only one phone line now, but I've also got Wi-Fi for the whole house. $124, and I get to watch what I want to watch. It isn't like I'm missing. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Most live sports, you can just subscribe to a service for 9 days or something.
That's so true.
And you can always download
sometimes
these apps.
Sometimes they just get you with the deals, and then the deals start stacking up, and the next thing you know, you're paying way too much.
I'm sitting here watching BBC Nature with no commercials. Endlessly, all day long, no commercials. Like, no commercials. They go to a commercial, it comes right back to the show, like, instantly. Like, hey, this is great, no commercials. There's all kinds of channels like that. So that's the kind of thing you can leave on TV, nature. It's like, let's watch some animals. Or you can watch soccer all day. That's another thing. You can watch soccer and leave it on TV, and people will think, oh, soccer, because nothing ever happens. So it's just a big field. They're filming a big field with a white ball flying around. That's somebody will score eventually. I think.
One day,
maybe if
something will happen. Okay.
So I do have a TV on all the time. The TV's my babysitter. It's my babysitter. I cannot go into it.
Also, animals like it too, because they don't like it when it's quiet.
They like this human voice is always comforting, at least to some animals. Anyway. Plants too. Plants want to know there's a human around, believe it or not. Plants have their own personality. So there's a lot that goes on there.
Let's roll our segue, Will, before this tangent is 10 more minutes long. And we'll start with...
It's Tangent Monday.
Yep, it's Gabby. It's Manic Monday. Sarcasm. Give me some sarcasm about my stories. The first one is going to be an update on Japan's election. We've been talking about it on and off for a couple weeks, and looking at exit polls, it looks like Takaichi is heading for a big win. It's probably already won, because I didn't find a story that's like the more recent one, but I'm sure there's one already where it's like, she won!
Ooh,
give me a second, my throat is getting all... Okay. Tokyo on Japan Today. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's party is set to secure a big majority in Japan's lower house in an election that happened yesterday on the 8th of February. Public broadcaster NHK forecast based on exit polls. Takaichi's Liberal Democratic Party is set to win 274 to 328 of the 465 seats in the chamber, well above the 233 needed for a majority, according to NHK. Hey, you know what? Whatever is going to happen, it's nice to see a majority for once, because a lot of times there just isn't, and then they have to make coalitions, and then nothing gets done. Together with the coalition partner, that Japan Innovation Party, known as Ishin, she can control up to 366 of the seats. So she still need a coalition anyways, and they have a super majority at this point. Like, that's 100 seats that aren't accounted for, that aren't part of her coalition. Japan's first female prime minister, 64, called the rare winter snap election to capitalize on her buoyant personal approval ratings since she was elevated to leading the ruling LDP late last year. So previous elections, she was voted, her party probably won the election, right? But she wasn't technically elected herself. Because even if you have a party system like this, where you're voting for the party, not the person who is representing the party, everyone knows the person representing the party does affect your election results. So I think she just wanted to prove that people still approve of me running the government in the snap election as me, right? Because previously she wasn't elected as the leader of the party. Voters have been drawn to her straight-talking, hard-working image, but her nationalistic leanings and emphasis on security have strained ties with powerful neighbor China, while her promises of tax cuts have rattled financial markets. The sad part about being a country like Japan or a country like Germany, right, is as soon as you're trying to look after your country and yourself, the people who are victims of your terrible war crimes are like, please don't do more war crimes. So I understand why China is a bit cautious about Japan starting to look more inward and looking at their own nationalistic pride, so to say, because that led them down a bad road previously during the Meiji era. Residents trudged through the snow to cast their ballots, with record snowfall in parts of the country snarling traffic and requiring some polling stations to close early, which is why it was only a 55% voter turnout. A lot of people literally couldn't get to the polls by nature's demand. I can't get there. I'm stuck in a snowstorm. They should just allow people to vote in, mail-in votes, but I don't know. Maybe they did allow mail-in votes. People just didn't expect a huge snowstorm.
As early voting, you can vote up to 2 weeks before elections in a lot of places, so that's a solution that Japan can do.
Like I said, maybe some people didn't think this would happen, so they didn't plan for it.
Well, they just don't want to vote. They just didn't want to vote. That's all there is to it. If you want to vote, you vote. That's all there is to it.
That's your negative point of view on it.
Excuses are for people.
It's the only third post-war election held in February, with elections typically called during milder months, you know, like the spring or the autumn, when there's not going to be a snowstorm. Outside a polling station in the town of Unuma in the mountainous Niigata prefecture, teacher Kazushige Cho, 54, braved below freezing temperatures and deep snow just to cast his vote for Takaichi's Liberal Democratic Party. It feels like she's creating a sense of direction, like the whole country pulling together and moving forward. That really resonates with me, he said. But Takaichi's election promise to suspend the 8% sales tax on food to help households cope with rising prices has spooked investors concerned about the nation with the heaviest debt burden among advanced economies will fund the plan. If Takaichi wins big, she'll have more political room to follow through on key commitments, including on consumption tax cuts, said Saiji Inara, managing director of FGS Global, a consultancy. Markets should react in the following days, and the yen could come under renewed pressure. Niigata resident Miniko Mori, 74, padding through the snow with her dog, said she worried that Takaichi's tax cuts could saddle future generations with an even bigger debt burden. But younger voters are among the most supportive of Takaichi, with one recent poll finding that 90% of those under 30 favor her. The Prime Minister has sparked an unlikely youth-led craze called Sanatatsu, roughly translated to Sanai Mania. So they have mania for her, huh? With the products she uses, such as her handbag and the pink pen she scribbles notes with in Parliament, in high demand. On Thursday, which I believe was, what was that? The 5th?
Wow.
Yes, the 5th of February, Takaichi received a total endorsement from convicted felon Trump. Take that how you want it. Bad news, good news. A lot of people are saying this is bad news, by the way, people who live in Japan. I've seen a lot of on my social media. I've seen a lot of Japanese posts where they're like, sorry guys, I voted, but we lost. So there are some people who are sad about this result. Weeks after taking office, Takaichi touched off the biggest dispute with China in over a decade by publicly outlining how Tokyo might respond to a Chinese attack on Taiwan. A strong mandate could accelerate her plans to bolster Japan's defense, which Beijing has cast as an attempt to revive its militaristic past. Yeah, like I said, same problem with Germany. Like, Germany said something about, like, we need to protect Europe, and we will do whatever it takes to raise our military to do that. And people are like, oh, Nazi Germany flashback, just because somebody says, we will have a militaristic country. But at this current global climate, I think everyone needs to, because to be fair, Russia also invaded Japan in the past. So maybe Russia's not looking at Japan right now, but they're looking at who knows if they invade all of Europe, they might invade all of Asia too, and then just make the whole continent theirs. I don't know. Russia has always been a threat to Japan. A strong mandate could accelerate her plans to bolster defense. I voted for a party that clearly has the will to protect the country. Masanobu Igarashi, a retired soldier, said after casting his ballot for the LDP in Monuma. Of course, that is reporting from one particular region in Niigata Prefecture. So, don't take everything everyone in Niigata, these three people in Niigata say as the feelings of the generation, so to say. But we will see what happens. I'm sure she'll come up on the news at some point because it sounds like she's making very controversial decisions for Japan, and people are going to have opinions on that. I'm ready for some sarcasm.
Okay, sarcasm. A nationalist in charge of Japan. What could go wrong? Kind of like nationalists in charge of Germany. What could go wrong? Same thing.
I'm a nationalist hater myself. Yeah, I'm not very excited about that particular thing. Japanese people are pretty nationalistic anyways. They're not exactly known for being a multicultural society.
As far as threatening China over Taiwan, that might make her feel good.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's just hilarious. Anybody threatening China over Taiwan is just whole man yelling at a cloud. That's how effective that is. You got another story, or we got to spin the wheel?
Yes, I have another story. I think this one is way shorter than the previous one. Or it's I think it's way shorter. This is from Reuters. Coming out of Stockholm. Speaking of, protecting your borders from invasion, some Swedish people believe they need to tighten citizenship rules, or I should say the government in Sweden is tightening citizenship rules, with applicants facing a longer 8-year wait before they can apply for citizenship in Sweden. A minimum wage threshold and a test of their understanding of Swedish society, the center-right government said today on the 9th of February. Sadly, very typical things that most countries require from you. You have to live there long enough, you have to make enough money so that you're not using up their system, and then you have to be able to understand where the hell you live. I wish it wasn't this way, but it seems to be the way most governments go when it comes to citizenship. Successive governments have tightened immigration policy since 2015, when around 160,000 asylum seekers sought refuge in Sweden. But the minority coalition government is betting that an even more restrictive line on immigration will prove popular with voters in September's parliamentary election. I don't see this as immigration, I see this as citizenship. Those are two different things. I can immigrate to Sweden and work there for 5 years and then leave. That's an option I have.
Yeah,
citizenship is a much longer...
You can be a guest worker.
Yeah, citizenship is a much longer, permanent thing you want to do, right? They don't let you just drop in and do it, so I don't know why they need to tighten it to begin with. I feel like arguing about asylum and immigration is not the same thing as arguing about people wanting to enter your country as a citizen and pay your taxes. I don't see those as two of the same problems, but they're making them into the same problem, I guess. These requirements are much tougher than the situation as is today, because currently there are basically no requirements to become a citizen, Migration Minister Johan Forssell told reporters. The government said applicants for Swedish citizenship would have You live in the country for 8 years, up from 5. Okay, so increased from 8 to 5. Have a monthly income of more than 20,000 Swedish crowns, which is about $2,225, which isn't not bad. I feel like people can make that much money, but it really depends where you work, right? And be able to pass a language and culture test. It seems reasonable that you should know whether Sweden is a monarchy or a republic if you want to be a citizen. That sounds like a misnomer, doesn't it? Or a straw man. They just invented a person who doesn't know if Sweden is a monarchy or a republic. I met an immigrant who didn't know this, and they wanted to become a citizen. Sure you did, Forsell. Sure you did. Anyone with a criminal record, either in Sweden or abroad, will have to wait longer before they can apply to prove they're not criminals still, I guess. Someone who has served a 4-year prison sentence, for example, would have to wait 15 years before being able to apply for citizenship. The anti-immigration Sweden Democrats, who back the minority coalition government, have blamed decades of what they say are failed immigration policies for a wave of gangland crime that has swept the country. Yet again, not sure if that has to do with becoming a citizen. I feel like if you're going to be a criminal and go to another country to be a criminal, you're not going to waste your time making a paper trail. Right? I'm not crazy here. You know what? I want to rob a bunch of Swedish people's houses. Let me make sure they know I'm registered and I have a SSN or an ID so they can find me easier. Like, no, you're gonna never become a citizen. But the new rules are expected to come into force in June 6th. Last week, the government said it would tighten rules for asylum seekers as well. And $1 is 8 Swedish crowns, 8.9 Swedish crowns, in case you wanted the monetary equivalent there. But yeah, the shorter story. I know I would be sarcastic that entire story because it's just it's just like apples and oranges.
I'll be sarcastic.
Like, why, if you want to be a criminal, why would you be like, let's just sing for citizenship? Doesn't make sense to me.
Again, it's like Texas making it illegal for non-citizens to vote. It's already illegal for non-citizens to vote. But what the fuck are you even talking about? Yeah, we're making a law. Okay. Way to go, Texas. You already suppress everybody's vote, and you're just going to make it worse by making people question whether they're a citizen or not, even if they're born in the country. You know, it's like, oh, am I really a citizen? I better not vote. I'll get arrested. It's scaring people away from voting. Anyway, that's not my sarcasm. My sarcasm is Sweden. Of the countries, nothing against Sweden, your government or your people, but the most southernmost place in Sweden is a latitude of 55, which is like northern Canada.
Yeah,
this
so
part of the world.
And we have the North Sea,
I don't know what the winters are like there. I don't know what the winters are like, but I know 55 means some really, really long nights in the winter.
Yeah, there's this really weird argument from people when it comes to asylum seekers and immigrants and whatever, that they're choosing to go there because they have, like, they just love it so much. Like, most people are asylum seekers because they have no other choice. They're trying to escape something, and they're just desperate. They apply for wherever they can reach, right? Some places you need to be physically there in order to apply for asylum, which is why there's so many people getting trafficked over the channel to get into the UK. Because the UK does have that law. You have to be physically present in the country to apply for asylum. So if they got rid of that law and said, hey, you can apply for asylum over the internet, they would not have thousands of people crossing the channel to get into the country, right? They could, just apply on the internet for asylum. Easy, right? Nope.
How do you prove who you are on the internet?
I'm sure there's ways to do this stuff. We're in the digital age, okay? There's a way to do these things. But that's probably why they have it physical, right? That's exactly the reason they have it physical, because they are still living in the Stone Ages where, we can't prove we're real. Okay, we want to physically see you, but don't physically come here to apply for asylum. Because it makes me worried we're getting invaded by foreigners. Whatever. You can't win.
My sarcasm is definitely related to the part of the world where you want to live. Like, I love the fact that the summer days are really long, but winters are going to suck in Sweden, even more than they suck here. And winter sucks here is bad enough. I'd rather live somewhere where the winters were just mild and the days were kind of even. Instead of this long day, long night. Go to Equator or something. That would be a place I would want to live. Plus, you're homeless. Like, you go someplace and you become homeless. Good Lord, homeless in Sweden's got to suck.
They're probably not allowed to be homeless in Sweden, I expect.
What, hope so. There was that brings up a story about in Minneapolis. There was homeless people. There was animal shelters taking in homeless people for the night, and the city told, I forget where it was. The city told them they couldn't do that anymore. You don't leave them people outside to die. Like, we're an animal shelter. We got to take care of animals, not people. What the hell is that? All we're doing is giving them a place to stay for the night.
Actually believe that, you know, which is really sad for the empathy of us fellow human beings.
Yeah, don't forget your charter. Fuck you, assholes. My charter. Anyway, let's do some stories. Let's do some economic collapse stories. The United States economy is on the verge of collapse, and only the morons think that's not true. And of course, those morons are usually the ones that are just taking all the money.
Remind me of a song.
They don't care if the economy. Reminds me of a song. I got plenty of songs. If you remember 2009, and I do, Barack Obama came in office with a giant recession in process. In
2008, housing crisis.
Right? And we're back to January. 17 years later, we are going to repeat that same process. This time, we don't have a president who's competent. We have a guy who's going to loot the system for his own gain. So that's really exciting. This is from Essence.com. January job losses were the worst they've been since the height of the Great Recession. Kimberly Wilson's the story. U.S. employment market continues to struggle with job cuts and layoffs. Of course, Trump and his economic team are not releasing the data on time because they claim the government was shut down. You don't have the data, which is horseshit. You have data. Data just gets there. It doesn't just isn't dependent on the government being around. People get hired and fired whether a government's around or not. You just got to collect the data. Get busy and do it. Get up your ass and do your jobs. They don't want to. They don't want to give you the bad news. But there's other people that do give you the bad news, and they don't care. They just want you to have the news because they want you to make smart decisions. U.S. companies kicked off the year with the most job cuts in any January since 2009. During the height of the Great Recession, the companies announced more than 108,000 job cuts last year. This is last year, according to data by outplacement from Challenger, Gray, and Christmas. In 2009, nearly 242,000 job cuts were announced. Of course, you know the banks all crashed in 2008, right before the election. And Obama had to bail out the banks because, we got to give $1 trillion to these criminals that keep stealing our money. So that was
too big to fail. The big meme back then. Too big to fail.
Too big to fail. And a giant insurance company had to be bailed out. I love bailing out insurance companies, don't you? Because they are so friendly. They're so nice. They're so understanding. Screw insurance companies. John McCain was right about that. He should have let them fail. He should have let them all fail. Unfortunately, that would have failed the economy, and Obama would have taken all kinds of grief for about 2 years, and he would have been booted out of office. Right?
Yeah.
Which, again, in 2010, they had an election and blamed Obama for the economy anyway, didn't they? Yeah. What's the end of you doing anything, Obama? Yep, 2009 was the only year Obama had to do anything. That's why Obamacare got passed then, because he had 60 votes in the Senate for a small amount of time, if you remember. Generally, we see a high number of job cuts in the first quarter. This is a high total for January. And the Challenger, the company's chief revenue officer, said in a press report, it means that most of these plans were set at the end of 25, signaling employees are less than optimistic about the outlook for 26. The firm's report showed the company's hiring plans sunk by 13% compared to the same time last year. They were down a whopping 49% from plans just 1 month before December of 25. In other words, job cuts remain high and hiring continues to be low. U.S. job openings, after all, have just reached their lowest level since 2020, which is at the end of the pandemic. Let's not forget that year. The leading reasons for January job cuts: contract loss, general market conditions, restructuring, and store or department closings in that order, according to the Challenger report. That's your real quick story on the. Oh no, we got some more. The transportation saw the highest number of cuts in January, followed by technology. CEO of Amazon, Andy Jassy, like many of CEOs recently, has said that AI will cost jobs in the coming years, but this cut appears to be due more over hiring and reducing layers than new technology, Challenger said in the report. The jackasses in charge of like Elon Musk thinks we're gonna make robots, and then the robots are gonna make robots, and that's just gonna keep going. So once we get the robots, we're gonna have robots making robots. And my question is, once you buy a robot, what now? Everybody owns a robot, and then what? Robot repairmen get rich? I mean, that's assuming anybody can afford these fucking robots, which they're not. They're not going to be able to afford them. So putting people out of work to have robots making robots is just a great, what do you want to call it, dystopia. Per Bloomberg, nearly half the cuts in January came down to 3 companies: Amazon, the United Parcel Service, or UPS, and Dow, the company which Jeff Bezos founded, Amazon, and remains a significant shareholder and executive chair, said it plans 16,000 corporate jobs. We did that last couple weeks ago. As it invests in trying to win the AI race, the corporate jobs, though. Corporate jobs, I don't know what the fuck that means. The guy who fucking, changes the paper in a printer. I have no idea. More weeks later, Bezos kicked off February with layoffs that gutted the newsroom at Washington Post. Don't forget, he just fired a third of the Washington Post, which is now, as credible as your weekly shopper's guide as far as news goes. Probably less credible. Which he owns, the Washington Post, unfortunately. The Challenger report came out ahead of the Bureau of Labor Statistics monthly jobs report. It's January 26th as expected, February 9th, which is today. Delayed a few days by brief government shutdown, which is a complete fucking lie. Stop making excuses for these assholes. Stop doing that. It was not delayed by the government shutdown. That's horse shit. The upcoming BLS report on January 2026 jobs will come after a dire December numbers where black unemployment rose and a net of 81,000 workers left the workforce who were women. So, as our economy collapses and we have Nero in the White House who doesn't even have a fiddle, he's just fiddling with himself. There's your story. Let's have us a song.
The song this reminds me of is On the Road Again. That's what everyone's feeling. On the road again. Looking for a job, gotta move somewhere else. Maybe they have a job there for me. We're going places. Like a band of nomads.
More Willie. That's right, on the road again. Let's do it. Another story about the economy. And this is what I call the future crash. We're going to have an AI crash, and we're going to have a Bitcoin crash, or a crypto crash, I will call it, just to be illiterate. We're going to have a crypto crash, and Bitcoin has been the more famous one. Bitcoin, of course, was born from, gamers. You collect enough of these freaking little tokens, and you can
find. Oh, didn't we discover cryptocurrency was made by Epstein, actually?
We discovered that QAnon was made by Epstein. Bitcoin was started by gamers, tokens, like the stuff you get for being good at a game. And at some point, somebody turned that into currency. Anyway, Bitcoin, which went through the roof when Stinky the Clown was elected because he said, we're gonna have Bitcoin. And everybody in the world said, fuck you. I mean, unless rich people, of course, rich people, again, it's a pyramid scheme. As the stock market, again, is also a pyramid scheme. The rich people have all the money, they own all the stocks, and what they decide to do is what moves the numbers. So pretending that, oh my God, I hope my stock goes up. Poor guy with 20 shares and whatever, and you got, and that's the way Bitcoin is too. You own some Bitcoin and it's like $5,000 and you paid $5,000 for Bitcoin and 3 months later, it's worth half of that. And you might even mortgage your house. Think about that. Anyway, CNBC.com has a story. Bitcoin gets slashed in half. Yes, a lot of people did mortgage their house to buy Bitcoin. That's a thing. No shit. There's some greedy assholes out there that think, rich people wouldn't steer me wrong. This is from Liz Napolitano. Name of a famous judge. I wonder if they're related. Bitcoin tumbled towards 60,000 this week as investors reassessed its utility. While there isn't one clear catalyst driving the bloodbath, one thing is clear: the crypto market is in crisis. There's nothing going on in the marketplace that should have necessitated this type of crash. Anthony Scaramucci, founder and managing partner of alternative investment Skybridge, told CNBC. You know what Scaramucci is, right? He's the guy who was in the Trump administration and got fired after like 10 minutes, and now he's anti-Trump.
Really? That's crazy.
That's Scaramucci. He's not the guy in he's not the guy they're singing about in Bohemian Rhapsody, right? Scaramouche, Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? That's him. No, it's not him. Anyway, and so I think it's made people, frankly, more fearful. Scaramucci goes on to say, you have to ask yourself, is it over for Bitcoin? Bitcoin fell as low as 60,062 on Thursday, bringing it to its lowest level since October 11th, 2024. That's more than 52% off its record high of 126 hit on October 2025. And I don't think it's ever getting that high again, because this economy, our economy, is failing. And once people realize their Bitcoin is useless, that's going to be a sucky day for those people that are sitting there 5 years ago and saying, you need to buy Bitcoin to be rich like me. And I'm like, how much Bitcoin do you have? I have one Bitcoin and it's worth $80,000. Okay, you might want to sell it now. No, it's going to get higher and higher and higher. So all these people that were buying Bitcoin back in October when it was $126,000, mortgaged their house, now they have $60,000 of equity. Hey, go morons. The previous session marked one of Bitcoin's bloodiest ever, with the token shredding more than 15% in one day. Its relative strength fell to 18, putting the asset in extremely oversold territory. I don't know what that relative strength index means, but that seems like it's weak. As of Thursday, it's oversold territory. I mean, there's guys that live by this. This is their Bible. That thing is oversold. I'm gonna, let's cut that, let's sell it. Once the rich people start selling their assets become less valuable. That's the facts. As of Thursday, other digital assets like Ether and Solana were also down 25% and 26% for the week to date, respectively. A sign investors confidence in the entire crypto market is faltering. Bitcoin was rebounded on Friday, where the token last trading at 169,631, and we can see what it is this morning, or this afternoon, as it turns out. But its recent drawdown has prompted investors to reevaluate its utility, including its role as a digital currency, as a store of value. Simultaneously, institutional appetite for flagship crypto appears to be waning as spot Bitcoin exchange funds record outsized outflows, threatening to drive Bitcoin deeper into red. Don't forget about that. A lot of the people that buy Bitcoin are mutual funds. Like, in other words, you put your money in a 401k and you say, Mr. Asset Manager over there at the 401k, Bear Stearns or whatever criminal enterprise you're part of there at the stock market, I want you to buy Bitcoin stocks, you son of a bitch, and don't even let me down. And then he does that and you end up losing all your money. This is markedly different from other bear markets, however. It is not a response to a structural blowup. Jasper DeMare, desk strategist at crypto market firm Wintermute, said in a statement shared with NBC, it is fundamentally macro-driven deleveraging tied to positioning, risk appetite, and narratives rather than systematic failures within crypto itself. How could you have systematic failures within your fake money? Your fake money where people put real money into it. Yeah, it's systematic. It's not systematic. It started out as a systematic failure. It's a con. It's a shell game. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a pyramid scheme. It's all those things. Yeah, I've got 100,000 in Bitcoin. Oh, I've got 60,000 in Bitcoin. Huh? I just had 100. Jesus, people, please sell your Bitcoin now. Get out before it's worth zero, and it will be guaranteed. Over the past few months, investors have grown increasingly skeptical of efforts to recast Bitcoin as digital gold, which is horseshit. Oh my God, it's just another fucking crypto scam. It is not digital gold, or an alternative to traditional safe havens such as gold, which is actual gold, or silver, which again had Silver kind of crashed a little bit, but it's still in the 70s, which is way where it was in December. It wasn't even in the 50s. Hello. While gold is up 72 during the same period, a testament to the latter's utility as a hedge against macro risks. Yeah, gold's up 72% since in 12 months, and silver's up 72% so 12 months at least. Might be 100. They're talking about gold, though, for some reason. Conversely, Bitcoin is often traded down alongside other risks on assets such as equities or amid periods of high macroeconomic and geopolitical uncertainty. You know, like Trump threatening to invade Greenland. And let's not forget every country in Europe dropping United States bonds, just selling them off, making them worth less and less every single day, making a dollar worth less every single day, as Trump does what Putin wants him to do, crash the United States economy. Separately, investors are also reassessing the extent to which financial institutions, treasury firms, and governments are willing to adopt Bitcoin, a major catalyst for the token in recent years. Large institutional outflows are mounting as investors brace for Bitcoin to go lower, thinning liquidity for the token, according to a recent analyst note from Deutsche Bank. Those outflows are also noticeable among spot Bitcoin ETFs in recent months, according to an investment firm. The funds have seen outflows of more than $3 billion in January, in addition to roughly $2 billion last December and about $7 billion last November. Outflow. That means that money's going bye-bye. It ain't coming back. Additionally, a swath of strategy copycats that emerged over the past year have also slowed or paused their Bitcoin purchases amidst the digital assets correction. Finally, traders have acknowledged that the long-time efforts to market Bitcoin as an alternative to flat currencies have largely faded, while Steak and Shake and Compass Coffee have rolled out support for Bitcoin payments in recent years. Okay, really small businesses. Initiatives to make the asset a form of payment have largely died, particularly as interest in dollar-pegged stable coins grows. According to Bitwise's Ryan Rasmussen, we're seeing Wall Street adopt stable coins because it is a fundamental transformation in the way payments work, and Bitcoin is just a different asset. It's not meant for that today, Rasmussen said, arguing that the token's purpose has evolved from that of a currency to a decentralized, non-governable store of value. I've never paid for a coffee or a sandwich with Bitcoin, and I never will. So there's your Bitcoin news. We're seeing it drop from its high, which it only reached the high because the improbable election of a 34-time convicted felon who was promoting Bitcoin and saying the government's going to take your Social Security money and put it in crypto. And every bold person in the entire world said, oh, that sounds like a good plan. No, they don't even know this. They're unaware that Trump is trying to steal your Social Security and give it to Wall Street. They're unaware of it. And they're going to find out. They're going to find out the hard way. They're going to go to their Social Security account and go, I got no money. What happened? Oh, Social Security Trust Fund is bankrupt. We gave it all to Wall Street. Yeah, we're not giving it back. That's what's going to happen. And then we're going to bail out Wall Street, by the way. We won't bail out the old people. We'll just bail out Wall Street. We get trillions of dollars for rich people, nothing for old people, nothing. Okay, there's your story though, on people's retirements disappearing down a Bitcoin hole. People's mortgages being, oh my God, I took out a second mortgage on my house. I bought $100,000 Bitcoin. It's worth 60 now, huh? And I still got to pay that mortgage, huh? And now the bank's gonna take my house, huh? Idiots. Don't buy Bitcoin. If you own Bitcoin, sell it before it's too late.
The song this reminds me of is we're going down, down in an earlier round. In sugar, we're going down swinging by Fall Out Boy. That's what happened to Bitcoin.
It's a definite fallout.
I'll be your number one with the bullet. A loaded God complex, pocket and bullet, indeed, a God complex. Bitcoin will never fail because it's unregulated and the banks don't control it. That's what they've always said about Bitcoin. You know, it's the people's currency. Unfortunately, the rich people are also people, and they put all of their shit into it and destroyed it. If they had like a...
No, they put enough into it to keep it afloat, right? They don't...
Yeah.
what they do is a pump and dump. You know what a pump and dump is? That's exactly what this is. It's nothing more than inflating the price, selling, and then the people who don't get the freaking memo are the ones that pay the price. Eventually, they're trying to sell, and as they're trying to sell, the price is continually dropping. I'm not going to sell at 50. Shit. I paid 100. I'm not going to sell at 45. I paid 100. I'm not going to sell at 40. I paid 100. I'm not going to sell it. I better sell at 30.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm not going to get anything if I don't sell at 30. That's what keeps happening. And this is what's going to happen to Bitcoin. All the people that put their fucking mortgages on the fucking line are going to want their money back. I got to take this money, invest in gold or something.
Let's roll our next segue. For my next story, we're going to talk about ice skating at the Olympics and a famous ice skater you may not know about for Black History Month. Give me a non sequitur. Let's see how you can fit the Epstein files into this. That's always a great non sequitur.
Well, there was, okay. It's been a while since I had a non sequitur.
Alright, let's go. My first story is going to be about drama at the Olympics. This is by NBC New York in association with the Associated Press, coming out of Milan, the Milan Cortina Olympics. Are backflips allowed in figure skating now? U.S. figure skater and gold medal favorite Ilya Malinin stunned fans when he delivered a backflip during the men's shorts program of the team competition on Saturday, which was the 7th of February. The 21-year-old from Virginia came up short of expectations, however, when he scored below 100 points and came in second behind Japan's Yuma Kageyama. The score narrowed the gap between the two countries, setting up a nail-biter conclusion yesterday on the 8th of February to the team competition. Malinin became the first Olympian to successfully land the trick in almost 30 years. The backflip, which was long banned in competition because of its inherent danger, is allowed now, though it always doesn't carry a whole lot of scoring weight. Before it wasn't allowed at all. The move was first performed back in 1976 by U.S. skater Terry Kubica. The International Skating Union quickly banned the backflip the following year. That wouldn't stop Olympians from trying to move ever since. During the 1998 Winter Olympics, French skater Sera Bonali performed the trick, impressively landing on one blade. She did receive a deduction for performing the illegal trick. Amid the rapturous applause of Malinin's successful backflip, many skating fans were quick to give praise to Bonali for her impressive moves as well. Sera Bonali originated the backflip in the Winter Olympics and was penalized for it. She should have won the gold medal. After Wendell Pierce posted, the Olympic Committee owes her an apology and the gold medal. Judges used to underscore her, and I love that she did the backflip in her last performance before retiring as a big F.U. to the establishment, one Twitter user points out. Bonali is a 3-time world silver medalist, 5-time European champion, and 9-time French national champion. She retired soon after the 1998 Games. So that's the story on her, but I have more. I don't know if you want to do a segue already, but I'm also gonna do the story about her and who she is and why you might not know who she is. This is from the Olympics official website and page. Sera Bonali on backflips, figure skating, fashion, and discrimination. In an in-depth interview, the French figure skater legend discussed her childhood, judging and why she wants to be remembered as a pioneer. This was originally recorded by Ed Knowles on October 28, 2020. Sera Bonali still fits into her outfit made by French fashion legend Christiane Lacroix from her first Olympics in Albertville, 1992. This guy was amazing. All those collections that he had for so many years, to be creative and so original at the time. I didn't wear it from 1992 until 2014. It was still in my closet, so that was surprising to have it still fit. My audio is doing something very odd. Thank you for letting me know. Also, good morning. My the audio is being odd. Yeah, I see it. It's doing it still. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that, audio? Are we good now? I think it's done now. Okay, it's done acting. It was my karaoke mic. My karaoke mic is angry at me for not doing karaoke. So it just acts up sometimes. Even though it's off, it somehow the XLR cable still puts out stuff. Right, where were we?
Was that buzzing noise? Buzzing noise, is that what it was?
Oh, yeah, I would appreciate if you hear a buzzing noise to let me know, because I can't hear my audio while I'm reading stories. Anyways.
Yeah,
I didn't wear it from 1992 until 2014. It was still in my closet, so that was surprising crap. It still fit. The dress reads iconic, but you didn't finish on the podium like most people in France had hoped. You really never get over it, Soria says through a smile. Her Olympic disappointment continued at the Lillehammer in 1994, resulting in a heart-crushing 4th place. 4 years later in Nagano, she fell short in the program, and the chances of her elusive Olympic medal were effectively over. She decided to do something that would be remembered, shared, and discussed decades later. Bonali landed a backflip on a one blade during her free skate. This has never been repeated in Olympic competition since, well, until yesterday. At first, I was almost like ashamed. Maybe I'm going to be hated forever. It was banned by Figure Skating Federation, ISU, in 1976. She did it anyway, knowing it would negatively affect her score. I'm not that much of a rebel, she said. I appreciate more and I feel more proud of myself now, today, than years ago when I did it. I think as a pioneer, I think it's most importantly to be able to say that. Soria grew up in Nice in 1970s, located on the glamorous south coast of France. It's less than an hour's drive from the celebrity-packed Cannes and Monaco. In contrast, Soria's parents were committed to simple living even before her adoption. They bought a house in the countryside. They wanted to live 100% self-sufficient, growing everything organic. We didn't have running water, so we had to go to the spring to get water. Television wasn't high on the priority list of daily activities in the household, an exception was made for the 1984 Winter Olympic Games in Sarajevo. It was a big investment and a big sacrifice. We had the solar panel ready to burn for like 2 weeks because we wanted to watch figure skating. Soria's parents are white, and immigration at the time in France was still not widespread. My parents were very gusty to be able to say, okay, well, we want to adopt, and also to adopt a kid of color. I was blessed to have parents who took me under their wings and helped me to grow up and give me a good education. The backflip last went viral in 2018, just before the Pyeongchang 2018. In 2020, it still pops. Despite her, it remains banned since then. I don't know if it's still banned now, because I think the article needs to be updated to it not being banned anymore. Despite her unquestionable superior athletic ability, Soria never became Olympic or world champion. Was that because there was an element of discrimination at the time? Maybe yes. If I would have been white, maybe I would have my title long ago. But who knows? Being a person of color, it was unusual. It was nice. People recognize me. And we mean a person of color in ice skating, by the way. A predominantly white sport at the time, especially in 1994. Soria is hopeful that situations is changing now for the better. People are more modern with open minds and more educated, and they realize something was slightly off. Actually really bad or awful. We have to accept and just shut up, and that's it. You should be able to speak up as long as you don't hurt anyone physically and mentally. Of course, four-time Olympic champion Simone Biles was quick to communicate her disappointment at the skill of hers being given a lower score than she wanted. Bonali has a background in gymnastics and competed internationally when she was younger. It's sad because it doesn't encourage athletes to do better. Although she is relieved that the current crop of quad-jumping Russian teenagers are being given the recognition by figure skating judges, I know it takes a lot of toll on your body, and it can be very painful, but people should appreciate and give a big fat score. It is indeed amazing and special. The disappointment in the big competitions won't be forgotten, but neither will her bravery and spirit for standing up for her beliefs. I appreciate it more, and I feel more proud of myself now, today, than years ago for when I did the backflip. I mean, even many years after, I'm like, damn, did I really finish fourth at the Olympics? But it is what it is. And in the challenging time of, at the time the global pandemic was happening, she gave feelings of hope and encouraging people to continue living on with, even if life has a lot of barriers, there's a lot of barriers you can break through and go over. So follow your passions, your dreams, and do what you love. So that is an interview from her in 2020. But of course, now we know that people are doing robot echoing everything I say.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't know how to solve the robot echoing everything I say. Yeah, my
Turn your volume
microphone is
down.
definitely off. Everything sounds fine to me.
From my end.
Yeah, well, you have different audio than me.
I don't know. You want me to check and see what the deal is? I don't know.
But that's mine too. I'm just checking my audio lines.
I'll try to listen to it here and see what happens. Oh yeah, you got all kinds of buzzing going on. Yeah, it's all garbled. It went away just now. I don't know what that is. Say something. Now you're muted.
No, I'm not muted. I switched audio devices.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, it went away, whatever it was. Maybe if you start talking and enough audio gets loaded at once, maybe that's when it starts.
It's just
Oh, I don't
OBS.
hear
It's
you
just
at all.
OBS being an asshole, because the thing is, my audio into OBS is fine, but when it comes out of OBS, it messes up, and I can't solve that. I don't know how to fix that because it's the program itself that's causing the problem. Anyways, that's my story.
too many audio
Do you have
filters.
a non sequitur about ice skating, or not about ice skating? I guess completely not related to ice skating.
Non sequitur. No, it's related to backflips.
Okay,
Speaking of
backflips.
speaking of backflips, the Department of Justice bending over backwards to please Stinky the Clown. And speaking of which, today, this is actually a news story from today. Members of Congress will have access to the unredacted Epstein files starting today. That's true. I just found this story. It's actually not new. I heard about it over the weekend. Andrew Solander of Axios has this story, and it says, Justice Department will let members of Congress view unredacted copies. Unredacted is very important. More than 3 million documents related to Jeffrey Epstein have been publicly released. The ones they have already released. Why not the ones they haven't released? And according to a letter obtained by Axios, Democrats have urged the DOJ skirting its statutory requirements. They're required to release unredacted, only protected to victims. Anyway, there will be
The thing you're
House
asking
members and
for
senators
is
will be
happening.
given
Well, maybe not
access.
publicly, but at least people in Congress can see all
Well,
the
again, you have a lot of child
files.
pornography you cannot release to the public, even though they released the names of the victims to the public, which is a complete violation of the law. Somebody needs to go to prison for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the House members and senators will be given access to unredacted copies of the files starting
Is this
today.
still your non sequitur?
Assistant Attorney General Patrick Davis. Yeah, this is my non sequitur. The documents will be available on computers in the reading room at the DOJ building in Washington, D.C. from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. So Congress are going to be sending staffers over there, I imagine. They can sit there all day and watch those. Yeah, you're going to have a staffer. Don't bring your cell phone. And
No,
you
of
can
course
take
not.
notes, but you can't take pictures. Don't bring your cell phone. And the Department of Justice
It's going to
is
be
gonna say,
based on
why can't
your
we see the
testimony of what you saw. So,
all right, I don't think you have another story, so I'll get into my oil tanker story.
let's roll our segue
And
wheel and get into your oil story.
I did send you a video, so we got that going for us. You can load that while I'm talking. This is from BBC.com. What did you spin?
Bad pun.
Bad pun about oil tankers. This is BBC.com. The shadowy world of abandoned oil tankers by David Waddell. And hopefully that buzzing is not there anymore. Over the past year, there has been a big rise in the number of oil tankers and other commercial ships being abandoned around the world by their owners. What is causing the spike, and what is the human impact on the affected merchant sailors? What's one of them jobs, being a merchant marine sailor, that you're gone all the time. It pays well, but it's dangerous.
Yep.
You can get just knocked off the boat at any given time. You got to be on your feet and alert all the time. Anyway, Ivan, not his real name, spoke to me last month from an oil tanker that lies abandoned outside the territorial waters of China. He's a senior deck officer. We had a shortage of meat, grain, fish, simple things for survival, said the Russian officer. It's affecting our health and our operational atmosphere. The crew was hungry, the crew was angry, and we tried to survive only day by day. The ship, which we are not naming to protect Ivan, is loaded with nearly 750,000 barrels of Russian crude oil with a nominal value of around $50 million, or 37 million British pounds sterling. It had set sail from Russia's Far East for China in early November. It was reported abandoned in December by global trade union organization International Transport Workers Federation, ITF, after the crews said it had not been paid for months. Yeah, fuck you. We're not delivering this oil if you ain't gonna pay us. Yeah, not cool. Not cool, motherfuckers. It's always an oligarch, isn't it? Yeah, they blame poor people for everything. It's always an oligarch. It's always an oligarch. Well, shit, I can't pay my workers. That'll cut into my profits. What are you thinking? Can't pay my workers. What a odd concept. The vessel remains in international waters, such as the level of scrutiny surrounding it that China is understood to be unwilling to allow it to port. China's like, nope, stay at the sea. However, the ITF is interviewing to get Ivan and his colleagues paid up to December, and arrange for food, drinking water, other essentials to be sent to the ship. While some crew members have been repatriated, most, like Ivan, are still on board. Okay, this is the cruise that won't end. And it's a big stinky oil tanker, too. It ain't not a nice ship. Back in 2006, 20 ships were abandoned around the world. That was only 10 years ago. Now let's look at an update. According to the ITF, in 2025, that number had ballooned to 410. I don't know what that exponential ratio is, but it's big. 20 to 410 in 9 years. With 6,223 merchant seamen falling victim. By victim, I think they're stuck on the ships.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Both of these figures for last year were almost a third on... Both of these figures for last year were up by almost a third on 2024. Geopolitical instability is said to have been a driving factor in increases in recent years. Widespread conflicts around the world and COVID pandemic have triggered supply chain disruption and wild variation in freight costs, meaning some operators are struggling to stay afloat. Literally afloat. Wow. Nice play on
wow.
words.
I'm supposed to be doing the bad puns. What the hell, story?
Right.
My bad puns.
We the pun master. Well, that's not a pun, it's a metaphor, right? But the ITF says the growing prevalence of so-called shadow fleets could be contributing to a big spike last year. Yeah, that's right, shadow fleets. What the hell does that mean? These ships, typically oil tankers such as the one Ivan is stuck on, are more often aging vessels of obscure ownership. Oh, I'm going to work for an obscure owner on a boat. You're asking for trouble. I'm sorry. I'm going to work on a boat for some guy, some shadowy organization. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's plenty of double entendre going on for sure.
These guys are lucky Trump hasn't bombed them yet, right? That's what I'm saying. And they are typically sail under flags of convenience for FOCs. The ships are registered in countries with very limited regulatory oversight. That's why you see a lot of oil tankers registered in Liberia. Liberia flag flying over a ship. Liberia has like 100,000 people, but every oil tanker in the world is registered.
India too. There's those Indian ships doing as well.
India registering in India?
Yeah.
Or Indian in Liberia? Oh,
there's Indian ships also part of the shadow fleet.
When you say Indian ships, do you mean they got the Indian flag?
Yes. They're registered in India.
Well, why would they do that? That's a big damn country with lots of money. Why would you pretend you belong to them? People come after India. They're not going to come after Liberia.
They haven't been coming after India, though. China and India are supporting Russia's war, and nobody's coming after them at all for it.
Okay, can I read? Oh, okay. I have no idea what that means. These ships, typically oil tankers such as the one as I is stuck on, are more often aging vessels, obscure ownerships. They're typically sail under flags of convenience or FOCs. The ship are registered in countries. Okay, dead already. The shadow fleet vessels are trying to stay under the radar to help countries such as Russia, Iran, and Venezuela export their crude and contravention of Western sanctions. That's why the poor bastards got stranded, because these shadowy companies are trying to skirt rules by flying flags of weird countries that aren't, part of the embargo. Take the case of Russia. Following its invasion of Ukraine in February 22, it's faced sanctions that cap the price it can charge for its crude. Russia has found its buyers willing to pay a higher price, such as China and India, though the latter has now pledged to cease purchases under the terms of a recent U.S. trade deal. Why did you sign a trade deal with Trump? FOCs have been flown by merchant ships for more than a century as a means for owners to skirt laws and regulations at home. In the 1920s, it was common for American-owned passenger ships to register in Panama to bypass U.S. prohibition laws that sell alcohol on board. Panama, Liberia, who I just brought up, and Marshall Islands are the most common FOC states, representing 46.5% of all merchant ships by weight. Like I said, how many people live in Panama, Liberia, and the Marshall Islands? You could probably fit them in one block in New York City. And in 2023, there were no oil tankers registered to Gambia, but by March last year, it became the paper host of 35 such vessels. Gambia, population of less than 1 million, I don't know, maybe more. Host nations enjoy sizable fees, so they pay a fee. You can register your ship, no regulations, pay us this ridiculous fee. FOC vessels feature prominently in abandonment. In 2025, they accounted for 337 ships, or 82% of the total. The number of shadow fleet ships among them numbers unclear, but such as the poor state of these vessels and sketchy ownership structures behind them, it appears to expose these crafts and their crews to greater risk. The International Maritime Organization, the IMO, guidance is that a seafarer is abandoned when their ship owner fails to cover the cost of his or her repatriation or has left them without necessary maintenance and support, as otherwise unilaterally severed ties with them. The latter includes failure to pay contractual wages for a period of at least 2 months. Oh my God. What a hell to be in. Well, there's your quick story. There's a lot more to it.
That was the quick one, huh?
You can... well, they're cutting off about 10 paragraphs. So, yeah.
All right, then let's give
let's do this. You were
ourselves
talking about India. Wait, India's in this one. Okay, let's do this. You were talking about India, so I found a paragraph on India since you brought it up.
Okay.
The most affected nationality for maritime abandonment, when you say the most affected sailors and what country they're from, were India. Indian sailors accounting for 1,125 or 18% of total. Filipinos at 538, Syrians at 308 come out second and third. In September last year, to protect its important seafaring community, the Indian government blacklisted 86 foreign vessels over seafarer abandonment and rights violations issues. Investigators found many of them had untraceable owners or no response from flag states. I was like, why are these people staying with the ships? They got nowhere else to go. Anyway, so there's your...
and sadly, it is the case. You find a job, you keep it because you don't know if you'll ever get another one.
You're not getting paid. You're not getting paid and you're stuck in a ship. What the fuck's the point in being there? Oh, they owe me wages.
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
get
saying,
my
though.
wages.
You get stuck. You have nowhere else to go, so you just stay there in a vain hope that it'll pan out somehow. Never does.
I mean,
but that's how you take advantage of desperate people.
And these people in this one picture,
that's the recipe for doing that.
I would say they're mostly Filipinos, the people in these pictures.
Yeah, probably.
Filipino. Yeah.
My pun is... Where was it? I'm starting an oil business. I hope it pans out.
Oh,
why do oil barrels tell secrets?
I don't know.
Because they always leak.
Oh,
You don't need to worry about, they'll tell you sooner or later. They always leak. Is that your only story?
You got some slippery puns there. That's my only story.
Some slippery puns indeed. Ah, dear. Okay.
Okay, puns.
Let's roll our segue wheel.
Your third story is...
An oil tanker can run on oil they hold. They can basically go on forever. Yeah, maybe that's what they'll do. So I feel like this is crude oil.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if they can run on crude oil.
No, they can't run on crude oil. It's got mud and shit in it. They can't use it.
We've got a hypothetical, and we're going to talk about the big news of the weekend, at least for American culture. The Super Bowl halftime show that happened, which was, a big moment for people who don't speak English. And lots of people were praising it, and, Bad Bunny had to wear probably a bulletproof vest because he was so worried he was going to get assassinated for doing the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, guys. It's just a little concert. You'll forget about it by halfway through the year.
Yeah, who cares?
You'll be like, oh, that was this year? That's what you'll be like. That's how much you'll forget about it. This is on El País, which is a Spanish paper by Iker Saideros. A fantasy of palm trees, sugarcane, lampposts, domino games, women doing their nails, and corners between Old San Juan and New York. With its market, La Marqueta, like the one in Harlem, its casita, its barber shop, and a liquor store that simply said Conejo, served as a backdrop for Bad Bunny's dazzling confirmation as an icon for Hispanics in the United States and Latin Americans around the world. The performance, which can only be described as an out-and-out triumph for the Puerto Rican artist, took place on Sunday, the 8th of February, in Santa Clara, California, during the spectacular Super Bowl halftime show, in which convicted felon Trump rushed to describe as terrible regardless. Probably didn't even watch it. Who cares what he has to say anyways. It was actually El Tiempo Medio del Supertazón, a literal translation of the Super Bowl halftime, as it was seen in Spanish on the screen at the San Francisco 49ers Stadium during the intermission of the NFL final between the Seahawks and the Patriots. The singer showed up dressed in to the nines with an American football that he picked up again at the end of the performance when with his song DTMF played in the background. He exclaimed, "We are still here," and scored a touchdown for the unity of the American continent. That's right, everyone in Europe and Australia and Africa considers North and South America one continent. Fun fact for you there. Only Americans, and I specifically state Americans born after the 90s, know about South, Central, and North America. That's a new concept for younger people, because we argued about this before on the show, right? You did not get taught about Central America in school. I did. I got taught about Central America in school so that we could other Mexicans and be like, Mexicans don't belong here. They're from Central America. Whereas you learned while you're in school, they're from North America. Mexicans are on North America, and they belong here just as much as Canadians and United Statesians do, okay? Anyways, let's not get too much into that because I'll talk about it for 10 hours. He was surrounded by a dance troupe carrying the flags of all their countries, whose names the singer had just recited angrily as he raised the flag of his island, Puerto Rico. And the message said, "Together, we are America." Thus entered a dazzling, imaginative recital, which even included a real wedding and other surprises such as Lady Gaga, accompanied by Puerto Rican band Los Sobrinos, performing Die With a Smile, with which she won a Grammy alongside Bruno Mars last year, in a salsa style, before joining the star in Baile Inolvidable. It gets to or Ricky Martin, in a gesture of recognition to those who came before him in the musical conquest of America, the country, not the continent, and which was also included a medley of early reggaeton hits, including Daddy Yankee's La Gasolina and Don Omar's Del Don Del. At the moment, the screens blared a single message in capital letters, Perio, Perio, after a kickoff that included songs like Titi Me Pregunto and Yo Perio Sola, In the stands, a mostly white audience reacted, white as in their skin color, I assume. I'm sure we didn't go through the stands and be like, are you Cuban? Are you Mexican? Are you from, I don't know. There's white people all over America. Are you from Canada? There's plenty of white Cubans and white Mexicans all over the place. And people even get bullied for being white. You're not a real Mexican because your skin's lighter than mine. Okay, whatever. Anyways, if I'm here today, it's because I never stopped believing in myself, he said. The boy who refused to stop believing in himself, born Benito Antonio Ocasio Martinez, presented a child with one of the 2 Grammy Awards he won last Sunday, which was, I believe, the 4th. What was that? The 4th of February? The 2nd of February? The 1st. The 1st of February, where he won a Grammy. The child's face resembled Bad Bunny as a child, and perhaps because the actor was dressed like the artist in the old photo, but also reminded viewers of Liam Conejo, the 5-year-old boy detained in Minneapolis who has become a symbol of the White House's brutal immigration policies. Celebrities such as Karol G, Jessica Alba, and Pedro Pascal joined him from the Little House, reminiscent of the historic residence where Bad Bunny held 30 concerts last summer in Puerto Rico. The singer's fans had joked throughout the week that a couple of American football teams were tasked with entertaining the crowd on Sunday during the Wait for Benito Bowl, as they called it. The 13 minutes of music that break up a game watched by 130 million people is a global entertainment event in itself. But this time, the superlatives fell short. For reasons more political than artistic, it was the most anticipated halftime show in recent times. Bad Bunny's bigger statements on the night were his long-awaited tribute to Puerto Rico and a somewhat unexpected defense of America beyond the United States. Also the gesture of dancing as an act of resistance, and of the Spanish language as a key capable of opening one of the most coveted symbolic spaces in a country whose president has made English official by decree and has launched what aspires to be the largest deportation of irregular immigrants in history. With Bad Bunny, who is not an immigrant but a U.S. citizen, by force, to be fair, the collision between 2 visions of the United States in the era of Trumpist tension also took center stage. White, Christian, monolingual America, which fears, as demographers predict, the day when it will cease to be the majority, versus diversity in immigration. So I got some bad news for you, white nationalist. You've never been the majority on the American continent. Ever. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. And that's my culture news about the Super Bowl, in case you missed it, because I definitely didn't watch it. I don't even know where I could have watched it because I live in Europe, but I don't watch the Super Bowl. I don't care about sports, so I'm not.
What's on an app? Yeah, you don't care about sports, but all your stories today are about sports. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, well, the culture of the sports, the politicalness of the sports, I would say. But sorry.
Hypothetically, the last time the Super Bowl was out the game, and I totally considered a halftime show a non-event, non-story, that only the right wingers about, the only ones who care about it. Nobody in the left gives a flying fuck about the goddamn Super. In fact, football fans don't care about the halftime show. Last time, and I had to look it up, I had to go find out, when was the last time the Super Bowl was about the actual game instead of the halftime show? I think it was 1990, because in 91, in that January 91 Super Bowl, they had New Kids on the Block, I think. And that ruined it. Halftime for everybody forever. Instead of watching go to the studio show where the talking heads go, what do you think Team A is going to do in the Team B in the second half? Well, I think Team A needs to run the ball. Well, Team B needs to get that pass protection. And instead, we're watching some fucking entertainment, that fireworks and shit and all kinds of garbage. I remember the Packers winning the Super Bowl in 1997.
Yeah.
Halftime show had so much. It was in a Superdome, indoors, completely indoors, New Orleans. They had a halftime show with fireworks. You know where that smoke went? Nowhere. It stayed in the stadium for the rest of the game. Yeah, so the whole freaking third quarter, you're watching through a fog. You got to get used to. Halftime shows suck. They just have a marching band. Have the Marine Corps silent drill team. That would be an awesome halftime show. I'd watch that. Fuck this halftime show shit. Knock it off. You know what they used to have? all the time, every year, they used to have Up With People. You ever heard of Up With People? It's like a chorale singing band, choral singing, or whatever you call it. Yeah, Up With People. They did like every other Super Bowl halftime show. You know who else was on there a lot? Was Al Hirt. Al Hirt, the trumpet player from New Orleans. What the hell is that about? But Al Hirt was at halftime. He's playing trumpet and shit. And I know, actually Al Hirt, my dad, when I was a kid, I used to hear him complaining that Al Hirt cheated him out of a beer distributorship he's trying to start. That's what my dad claims. Al Hirt, the famous trumpet player, and him were competing for some beer distributorship in Milwaukee, and my dad lost out on it or something, and he hated Al Hirt. I'm serious. This is an actual thing. My dad hated Al Hirt. I never got to the bottom of that. I need to ask my brothers and sisters about it because I just remember it as a kid. He hated Al Hirt.
Well,
why does Dad hate Al Hirt?
As a clarinet player myself, he
mom.
hated Al Hirt because he was a trumpet player, bass line, and then whatever else happened between them was personal.
It might even
I don't
have been
hate
a
anybody, right? But I dislike trumpet players because they always blare too loud and then they cover the nice harmony that is the woodwind section. Nobody ever talks about the woodwind section because the trumpets are out there going, like, shut the fuck up.
I hated trumpets because that's what they played to wake you up in the fucking morning reveille. In the morning in the Marine Corps, it's a trumpet. You know, they call it a bugle, but it's really, you know, that fucking shit. Fuck you, I don't want to go to work, you know? Anyway.
But I did say in the story, Chrono, who was in the Super Bowl, was the Seahawks and the Patriots. So technically, yes, one of them was a bird. One of them was a bird.
Yeah.
And one of them, I don't know what a patriot is. Somebody who drank the Kool-Aid or something. I don't know.
These days, it's my least favorite word. If you call yourself a patriot, I just go ahead and say, okay, what branch of the military were you in?
I think we should go back to having animals as representation of teams, not concepts, like whatever a patriot is, right? You can't find a patriot in the wild. Seahawks, you can go find a Seahawk. You can go check one out.
And the Seahawks won, so...
Yeah! Whatever. For animals.
I had no dog in this race.
Birds represent, exactly. Birds represent.
Did you spin the wheel?
No, let's spin the wheel. Sorry, I didn't know if you were done with your story. Your tangent there.
We can go through all the teams in the NFL that aren't actual
No,
animals.
we don't have to. I'm spinning the wheel. It's fine.
The Patriots.
I'm going to be sarcastic now for your day in history.
49ers are named after a bunch of greedy assholes that just headed out west with no plan.
I would like to end the show in 10 minutes. At least 10 minutes.
Okay, what'd you spin? What'd you spin?
I'm going to be sarcastic.
You're already sarcastic. You already did that. Okay, so we're gonna whip through this day in history before we get into Tuesday. February 9th in the year 1757. The Treaty of Alanagar placed what today Kolkata under British control and served as a prelude to the seizure of Bengal. Robert Clive has seized the city in January from the ruler of Bengal, Siraj al-Dawla. Sorry that's so long, but that's what happened today in 1757. February 9th, 1796. Qin Long, the fourth emperor of the Qing dynasty, Qing dynasty, abdicated and was succeeded by
Qing dynasty, I think. I can't do the Q very well in Chinese.
So, yeah, they use a lot of Qs in China. Love the Qs in China, they do. 1940, South African novelist, critic, and translator J.M. Coetzee was born. He won the 2003 Nobel Prize for Literature. Happy birthday to him. 1984, Yuri M. Dropoff bought the farm 15 months after succeeding Lena Brezhnev and was replaced by Konstantin Chernenko. And I think Chernenko lasted like a couple of months. So eventually Chernenko was replaced by Gorbachev, and you know what happened to that. 1996, German physicist Peter Armbruster and his team of scientists synthesized chemical element 1112, a heavy transuranium element that was later named Copernicum, because they wanted to make it really hard to say. 2002, Princess Margaret died in London as King George VI's second daughter, and I'm watching The Crown, and boy, she was carrying on. Oh, she was in that movie. Anyway, she's the second daughter, the youngest sister of Queen Elizabeth II. She struggled to balance her independent spirit with her duties as a member of the British royal family. Yeah, she was adventurous, let's say. I can all kinds of money and no responsibilities. That's what tends to happen, right? You just go, I can do whatever I want. 1992, Magic Johnson unretires to play an NBA All-Star game. On this day, 1992, Magic Johnson, who found out his Johnson was not magic, briefly returned to the basketball court for his 12th NBA All-Star game. It's the only game he played the entire season. Johnson had revealed just months earlier that he had HIV positive, and he had missed the first few games. Although revealing his HIV diagnosis invited judgment, Johnson played with his usual verve and scored 25 points. Of course, the All-Star game, the final score is like 210 to 209. 25 points in an All-Star game is nothing. Nobody plays any defense in the All-Star game. And plus, he had
morning,
HIV
Johnny.
and nobody
Monday.
wanted to guard him. I'm like, and you're watching this live, and it's like the guy retired from HIV, which is a highly contagious through blood transfusions or whatever, and people didn't know how it was spread back then. And Magic Johnson unretires and played in the All-Star game and scored 25 points. And I'm like, yeah, nobody wants to guard him. What if he scratches himself? They got to go to the locker room, you know? That's all I'm saying. Yeah, well, again, Magic Johnson did permanently unretired and played for the Dream Team in 1996. So he permanently unretired after that. And he's still alive. So HIV is no longer a death sentence.
Woohoo!
The rich people can get by, like Charlie Sheen. Alice Walker is our feature biography, American writer, February 9th, 1944. She's 82 today. Happy birthday! She was born in Eatonton, Georgia. Other featured birthdays: Carmen Miranda, Portuguese-born singer and actress, known for wearing fruit on her head, born in 1909. It's a happy birthday to Carole King. Oh my goodness, Carole King is now 84. Born in 1942. Happy birthday to American economist Joseph E. Stiglitz. Alice Walker, born in 1944. Stiglitz, born in 1943. Alice Walker, American writer, born in 1944. 1979. Zhang Yai, Chinese actress. She was born in 79, so she's not quite 50. She's 50. Not quite 50. 47 today. Our other birthdays today and events: Clean Out Your Computer Day. I guess that means your drives, not just the keyboard and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, you definitely want to clean out the dust too. Not enough people do that, and then their computers catch on fire. So you can do it literally and digitally, please. Both are good. I would say both are good.
It's National Toothache Day, which is terrible. I mean, toothaches are probably the worst thing. You can't even function with a toothache. I'm sorry, I can't anyway. National Pizza Day. So eat that pizza and make sure you floss. And it's February. It's also National Cut the Cord Day. We talked about cable. Cut that cable. Broadcast television is free in a lot of places in the United States. Just put a little antenna up, you get it. Or just don't even watch TV. Turn it off.
You can learn so much stuff on YouTube, and learning is better than just consuming, in my opinion.
I remember when cable TV was worth it. So I grew up in a generation where cable TV was worth it at one time because they didn't have so many commercials. Now they have more commercials than freaking broadcast television. National Bagel and Lox Day. I love me some bagels. I'm not have red lox. Little tiny fish. Maybe I'll try it someday. I like fish. National Rehydration Day. Don't forget to drink that water. February is a very dry month, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. And it's National Football Hangover Day. And if you're United States, you have a National Watching the Football Commercials in a Halftime Show Hangover Day, because that seems like the only reason people tune in unless you're an actual fan of the teams that are playing. So there's your mispronunciations, all your crap. No haikus today, just your standard fare. Otherwise, the show would have been even longer for February 9th. 2026 on before pizza and bagels and lox. Man,
So
that's
much
actually some good
food?
shit
I don't know
there.
if I'm going to be
I
able
don't
to
eat
eat
the
all of
lox.
that.
Oh my. A lot of bread and bagels.
The chair.
A lot of bread and pizza. So yeah, it's National
I'm going to
Bread
be
Day.
so
Let's call it
gassy,
that.
I think. If I eat that much bread. Well, to be fair, I think
Pizza.
bagels are good because they're sourdough. Fun fact, sourdough is the healthier
yeah,
bread
bagels-
if you want to measure healthiness in whatever
Best.
factor. Whatever
I
factor
love
you want to
me an
measure
onion
in.
bagel or anything.
I think technically sourdough is a healthier bread to eat than like. I mean, of course you've got whole wheat is pretty
doesn't
good.
have the-
White bread
it
is the
doesn't have
least
the yeast your
healthiest.
normal bread
I guess
does.
is the point.
The bread you buy in those packages where it's got all the holes in it, that's going to go bad really fast. You can freeze it, but put it in another bag before you freeze it. You can
Wait,
freeze
there's
bread. My mom
there's
did.
bread that has holes in it.
Bread packages have holes to breathe. Yeah.
Oh,
The
I don't
fresh
know.
bread you buy off the shelf,
Yeah, I have no
it's
idea.
got holes. It's got holes in the package. Yeah, it has
It's
to
been
breathe.
too long, I
Otherwise, it
think,
gets
for
mold.
me.
Yeah, yeah. It
I
gets
haven't been
mold
to
if
an
it
American
doesn't
bread
get-
store in a very long time, so I don't remember. Sadly.
If you capture all that yeast,
Yeah.
that yeast without giving it any airflow, it's just going to grow faster. So
Yeah, that's true.
they have to put holes in
That's
it,
the
but you can
difficulty with
freeze
yeast.
it. You can freeze it. Yeah. So yeah, and of course, bagels do not have yeast.
Yes.
They don't rise. It's unleavened bread. It rises a little bit with the
So
baking powder.
that's a
about it.
kosher thing, if I remember correctly. Bagels
Sourdough.
are a Jewish food,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word.
Sourdough itself does rise on its own, not like yeast.
Well, that's
bread
what
does. Hey,
the
let's
thing
get
about
on with the show
sourdough
here.
is.
Let's go.
It's what's the word I want to use? Fermented. It's
Unleavened?
fermented. It goes under a fermentation process.
Fermented, yeah. Right. The yeast fermentation process takes about a half hour, right? An hour. The sourdough, I think, is a little longer. Anyway, let's.
For my sarcasm, it's a good thing Magic Johnson unretired, so we could get Magic back in the NBA.
Yeah.
There you go. There's my sarcasm. I have no idea
yeah.
if there was Magic in the NBA. I wasn't alive when this event occurred. It changed
Yeah,
my
Magic
life.
Johnson is
2
a great-
years before I was born, my life was
Great
changed when
player.
Magic Johnson returned to the NBA.
I liked Magic Johnson, but when he was a rookie in the NBA, he blew everybody
Really? Okay.
away because, of course, he had Kareem on his team, and everybody said, "Well, he's going to be good. He's got Kareem." But what happened in the finals? Again, in the very first finals, Kareem was out for the last game, and Magic Johnson moved from point guard to center, and they won the game and the championship. So he was a 6'8" point guard. It's just
Yeah.
really tall point guard. Anyway, that's why he's called Magic. So very
Yeah, I hope
impressive
I
player.
hope his
Oh,
name
yeah.
is like, when you become a famous NBA player, they're just like, hey,
Perfect
can you choose
job.
an adjective real quick? And yeah, you have
Right.
to earn the title, right?
Yep.
People have to call you something. You don't just, you know what? Call me Magic Johnson. Why? You haven't done anything yet.
Also part owner now, if you want to know the truth, he's also part owner of the Washington Commanders football team. So he's an NFL owner. So he's doing all right. Although the Commanders aren't doing so well, he's doing all right. All right.
Yeah.
Let's have a
There are
whatever.
no international UN
Yeah,
observances today. Sadly, Interfaith Harmony Week ended last week, so none of that either. But we will
Yeah.
see you.
That was a
This
good
has been
time for
Allison
that.
here from the Netherlands. Roger from the East Coast of the US. As we finish up our first day of the week and second week of February, we're gonna speed through. Oh, thank you. When did that randomly get caught? Thank you for the bits, Chrono. I appreciate it. Oh, that reminds me, I have to do.
Thank you.
I still owe some squats to Omlin. I will do that after we end the show. We will see you tomorrow for Good Tues News Day, in which we'll have we'll have some good news. We're going to cover good news, all the good news that gets some hope back in humanity or the planet or living and being
Oh,
alive
shit.
in
Is
our
there good
reality.
news anymore?
So we hope to see you for that tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to the Before Coffee podcast channel on YouTube. We need more subscribers on there so that YouTube knows that we matter, that what we're sharing with people matters, that we're real people sharing news. We're not AI. We're not gaslighting you into thinking things that are important. And thank you everyone who's already subscribed, already following. And here is our mic drop moment. It's a short
Very
one,
short one.
but it's important.
This was a Super Bowl
The
commercial.
only good Super Bowl commercial, as far as we're concerned.
Yeah. Everything else is buy our stuff.
After years of being kept apart, we're
This
standing
is Chuck
together.
Schumer's
Standing
channel,
together.
by the way.
Because this girl deserves the truth.
Because she deserves the truth.
Because we all deserve the truth.
Yeah, and stop hiding. Again, they're releasing the files that they already released today. That's
Yeah.
all they're doing.
Scan that QR code.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.